Welcome everybody to the Wake Up Call channel. This is a video I should be doing only on the website, but recently I've been feeling like, who gives a crap? And putting out content that I should actually only keep on the website, not because I don't want to share it with everybody, but because it gets a very high risk of getting taken down and then the channels ultimately get removed, which is a thing I hear happens to a lot of YouTubers out there if they don't follow the company line. But I've never been one to follow the company line, and before I get into this video about Nosferatu that you have to see, I want everyone to know you can subscribe to my backup channel now if you haven't, called Hurting Humanity. I'm trying to build that channel out because, again, we're pretty sure, I think we're all pretty sure, that this channel's not going to be around for much, much longer. So make sure you sub now. It is linked below. I've noticed recently that Christians have found my channel, some new Christians, and of course, they've run away from my channel, even mentioning things like this, and they don't realize that they've been programmed at a young age to defend a certain group of people, to never question a certain group of people. You can't question them, and when you do question them, you're automatically labeled without even processing thought because it's been ingrained in us. It was really the most important thing they tried to ingrain in us going through the schooling system, was everything that came out of World War II for a reason. And let me slide over to Nosferatu. You might remember this movie, Nosferatu, or seen Nosferatu, the depiction of a vampire, right? Everybody's seen this depiction somewhere or another, right? And it's been repeated many times. It's actually supposed to depict a certain group of people, let's just say, right? A goblin, so to speak. He's got the long nose, right? He's got the ghoulish fingers. Everybody's seen Nosferatu. We've even seen it in the Harry Potter movies, those goblins from Harry Potter. They're supposed to depict something. I don't know what, but I think you all know exactly who I'm talking about. Now, Nosferatu is a very famous vampire movie. And of course, they've decided to remake Nosferatu, and they know they could show you all the truth right in front of your face in movies like this, and the audience is just completely under a spell. They're running to go see the movie. They think it's a form of entertainment. It's kind of ironic, right? They run and see these movies to be entertained, but they're actually being told the truth. They watch the news to get information, and they're actually getting fed lies. Go figure, right? I have to show you clips from this trailer of Nosferatu, and then we'll talk about the origins of vampires and the thing that you're not allowed to talk about. And recently they just passed a bill in America. You can't talk about it, but they're so ballsy. They're so ballsy that even in this trailer, they show you, I want you to keep an eye out for it, the heptagram, this 7-pointed star that you're not supposed to figure out what it means, but they're even revealing it to you in the trailer while saying, as they open the book, that they're encountering the vampires. Now, whom are the vampires we're supposed to believe? Of course, it's just make-believe. Somebody just wrote it down, made it up in their basement back in the 1800s, and ever since then, people have just been obsessed with it because it's so neat and so cool. Of course, that's not the origins at all of vampires. It's actually something that's actually occurred in real life that you cannot talk about. But watch this trailer. Look at the truth in plain sight.
Come to me. Does evil come from within us or from beyond?
He is coming.
He is coming.
We are here encountering the vampire. Nosferatu. We are here encountering the vampire.
So incredibly, that symbol I showed, because my channel, I like to show people signs and symbols. These are things that you'll see in movies, in music videos that you would just automatically dismiss. You'd never think anything of it, right? You would just be like, oh, neato. Somebody was just drawing with a pen and they were just scribbling and out came these stars and they put it right in the trailer as they just say, here come the vampires, so to speak, right? Well, that is called the heptagram. I recently just exposed it in Apple's new artificial intelligence app that they've released. The heptagram, right? It's a very popular symbol, but it has another name, of course. It's also known as the Seal of Babylon, the 7-pointed star. Now, they could come in different forms. Just like if you saw a pyramid turning in a different direction, it's still a pyramid, even if the point isn't at the top. It's a pyramid. Well, the heptagram comes in many different forms. Aleister Crowley's, you can see the star in the middle of that book. And that book, really, that they're showing you there, it's interesting that this book that you can find in Freemasonry, that you can also find with this certain protected group of people that you can't discuss. They have it in their books, this seven-pointed star. I think Madonna is into that group, and a lot of celebrities who are openly admitted to witches. I think it's called the Kabbalah, excuse me. You'll even see Tucker Carlson wearing the bracelet for that specific group of people because they practice magic. Black magic and sorcery. So what they're showing you when they're saying, here comes the vampire, they're showing you a book open, right? The book has that seven-pointed star. Now, most people think of the six-pointed star when they think of this specific group of people who I cannot name. But the seven-pointed star is just as symbolic to those people. Now, again, I talked about Aleister Crowley, the mother of abominations, the seal of Babylon. It is used in witchcraft and sorcery. And as they showed you that, what did they show you? They showed you a guy buck naked, I guess a vampire, right? On the floor there. I don't know if maybe he's eating a bagel with his back turned, and inside, he's sitting inside of a circle there with candles around him. Now, what do you think this is that they always show you? Always show you these circles with candles. What do you think they're sitting? Is this fun? Is this something that people do just to have a good time? This is, of course, them practicing black magic. They do it inside of what they call protection circles. We see it all the time in Hollywood. Just nobody notices it. Most performances, if you don't realize it, are done on a circular stage at the Grammys. Most of these celebrities, they make sure that the stage they perform on is a circle because it's a form of witchcraft and sorcery, right? So as the vampires are coming, we see this ghoul on the floor. Again, can't really see him here, but I'm sure we can figure out what he's probably doing. If he isn't eating a bagel, he's probably eating a child. So excuse me. So the topic that you're not supposed to discuss, of course, you can find over on my website. For those of you that don't know, the origins of vampires, even Bram Stoker, the origins of it. It wasn't somebody that just wrote it. It was based on something that occurred in human history that they won't let you repeat because they say it's very slanderous. Of course, they'll let you repeat the other thing about a specific group as long as it's victimizing them. And that's about something called blood. I forget what the word that comes after it is. Is it libel in a courtroom? Is that how that sentence goes? So those two words, you can connect them, okay? Blood and something with libel, okay? That specific event is what vampirism is based off of. And what it was a certain group of people who were targeting children. And they weren't just any children, they were Christian children, okay? And that's really what Nosferatu is based off of. And Bram Stoker's Dracula is based off of. Children being sacrificed and then, of course, eaten. But most people just think there's nothing to it. Now, the person who made the new Nosferatu, the remake, goes by the name of Robert Eggers, right? Kind of want to egg his house, but yeah. Robert Eggers, here he is, if you don't know who he is. Here he is, Robert Eggers, historical visions go mainstream. You can see him doing the all-seeing eye symbolism in The New Yorker. And of course, what has Robert Eggers done in the past? Oh, the other movie Robert Eggers has done is called The Witch. You might remember The Witch, which was filled with satanic sacrifice. Again, right out in the open, the truth that these people really do, right out in the open, mocking, showing, revealing, telling you go to the movies to see fiction when the majority of stuff is actually real. And the people who are acting in the films partake in these real rituals. And when you turn on the news, guess what? You're getting fed nothing but lies. That's how they create a false reality. That's what we would look at as spell casting and mind control. So The Witch is a film that Eggers performed. I thought that this was pretty funny too. Robert Eggers attending the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences new members party in 2019 held at the Freemasons Hall in London. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. Was he really attending the new members of the Academy of Motion Arts? Was he really attending that ceremony, or was he actually attending one to become a Freemason in the hall in London? Well, it's one and the same, right? Because everybody who's a member of the Academy of Motion Pictures is a Freemason and a member of these secret societies. So that's no coincidence that he was there. Now, another person quickly you saw in that trailer was William Dafoe. Okay, I've covered William Dafoe. William Dafoe, it makes me very sick. I remember seeing William Dafoe in The Last Temptation of Christ, which is one of the most blasphemous films you could ever possibly see. Of course, it gets rave reviews because it's blasphemous. So do you see how all this stuff works? Right? When it's blasphemous, it gets promoted and told that it's art, and you get Oscars and all that stuff. And Martin Scorsese directed it. Of course, we've seen him doing all the same all-seeing eyesism as William Dafoe, right? But this is all just a club you're not in. William Dafoe loves holding things up over his eye, over and over again. We've seen William Dafoe, even in commercials, depict the devil and conveniently having a Freemason ring on. All coincidental, right? Robert Eggers, Dafoe, Scorsese, Freemasonry. Then you go back, right, to the Freemasonry being fully entrenched with the teachings that are in a certain book that even Madonna follows, that you can't question, called the Kabbalah. Excuse me, frog in my throat. Okay, so this is right in your face. You can't make this stuff up. It's so funny. And again, I saw that Nosferatu, right? It was recommended a trailer for Nosferatu. Obviously, I'm familiar with Nosferatu, and I said, oh, Nosferatu, another vampire movie. Okay, and I understand why they do it because I understand what this system is, right? I said, should I even take a look at the trailer? You know, it doesn't entertain me or interest me, but all right, I'll take a look because this is the type of content that I cover, exposing this stuff. But all I expected to see was just some fangs. So I said, you know, I'll probably just see some fangs. I probably won't cover it because there's always a risk of a strike when you tell the truth. And then I saw that symbol right in there as the vampires reveal themselves. It's amazing. And then they tell you if you call out that symbol or you call out the people, well, you're an anti-something. You're not allowed to speak. You're hateful and you're just the worst thing that's ever lived. And of course, our own fellow brothers and sisters in Christ are the same people who defend the people who are trying to get them in bed with the synagogue of Satan themselves, which is them. So it's all coming full circle, isn't it? So again, let's just recap. Nosferatu, you've seen the depiction of that, right? Of Nosferatu. What does it look like to you? Does it look like a goblin, so to speak, right? Well, it's based off of something. This is the problem with the world we live in, really, is that people see this stuff and they don't think for a second what the origins are. They just say, Robert Eggers? They don't go, oh, well, we've seen a million witch movies. We've seen a million movies about vampires, right? They don't even know where the origins come from. They're just like, cool, another vampire movie, bro. I'm going Friday night. Cool, man. Cool, let's smoke and drink afterwards, right? Okay. Never think more than they just don't think, right? Why they see it over and over again. How it's in our faces and why you can't even mention that specific thing on what vampires are based off of, right? And then they desensitize you to this stuff and normalize it like it's entertainment when it's disgusting. Just the whole notion of vampires should be disgusting, but over years and years and years, people become desensitized to it, and they're like, oh, it's just fun, it's entertainment, it's a good time. People bring their 5-year-olds to go see these vampire movies, right? Well, the origins of it are very, very simple. It's an origin you're not allowed to speak of. And when you see the trailer for it, and you see somebody sitting buck naked in a ritual circle surrounded by candles performing black magic, and then they have the audacity to show you a book that has that symbol on it, the Seal of Babylon, or you want to just call it the heptagram, for those of you that just want to call it the heptagram, right? You could research the heptagram. You could see the connection, how it's used in that book I told you about I think it's called the Kabbalah, right? They have the gall to show you this stuff right to your face, but then say you can't question what you're seeing. You can't look at that and say that there's any connection between it. And if you do, you're just a horrible human being for doing so, for actually thinking critically or pointing things out that are very easy to see. Signs and symbols rule the world. That's the oldest motto, right? Confucius once said it. Signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor laws. And they're all in front of us and all around us, and they don't want you to notice them. But part of the spell that they're casting on you is they show you their sigils and their symbols, and they don't expect you to notice it. And I bet 100% of the people who watched that trailer didn't notice it at all. And all they saw was, ooh, I'm scared. Oh, William Dafoe. Ooh, how are the costumes? Is the music spooky? Are we going to see Nosferatu's long fingernails? And they don't think for 5 seconds of what it's even based off of. Now, obviously, there's those small margin of people like you and me who do wonder, well, what is it based off? Now, we all obviously know we're very well out of the matrix and very well awake to this stuff. And our job, I believe, my job, is to try and help you wake up from it, right? To realize that the movies, they show you more truth in those films than they'll ever show you or tell you on the news. News creates a false perception of reality. The movies reveal this stuff. And then, of course, the other thing people should always look at in life, and I just was telling somebody this, always think to yourself, if you're not allowed to ask questions about certain people, certain groups, you should be suspicious, should you not? What's the big deal? Why can you ask questions about Christians? Why could you, criticize the books that we read, right? Which is the Old Testament, the New Testament. Why can you question that? Why can you mock it? Why can you say that this is wrong and this is hateful and this is that in our books? But why not in other people's books? Well, you're not supposed to know that these are the books they follow. They want you to think that that specific group you can't question is sitting in a building every Saturday and reading the Old Testament. That's what the common person thinks. They don't realize that all these books that the celebrities read and follow and tell you about are the same ones that these people who claim to be one thing and are not follow. And all it teaches you about is magic and witchcraft and sorcery, right? And these are people who are of the devil, right? The Bible tells us they are of the synagogue of Satan. They are those who claim to be and are not. And I can't say more than that. Now, again, I tried to do this the best I could with getting around it and not getting, taken down. But if you didn't hear my warning earlier, I highly recommend you subscribe to the Hurting Humanity channel now, so I could start building that one out next. Because again, the more truth that gets out there, the more offended people get by truth, right? We know that people out there are automatically flag and defend stuff that they don't understand because it scares them. It doesn't necessarily scare them. They've been programmed in to defend people that they know nothing about. And they're not really even a people, right? It's all make-believe. It's all make-believe, folks. So anyway, that's enough of that. But Nosferatu, everybody's talking about Nosferatu. I see everyone's so excited, right? The sheeple are excited. They want to run to the theater. I'm sure Christians will bring their kids to the theater, not having a clue about what they're even doing, what they're even seeing, because they don't. They live in fantasy land. They reveal themselves. The evil reveals itself always. And these movies, they are not, somebody didn't just write these movies about witches and Satanists and vampires. This is all based on truth. This is all based on stuff that they do in secret, in darkness. And sooner or later, it's going to be done out in the open. And guess what? You're going to be so desensitized to it and so in love with the characters that you're going to want to become a vampire yourself. And you will probably if you're not awake or awakening to what's going on. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always and your families.